Hey everyone, welcome back to Master Sight. Today I have game 5 of Lone Wolf for you. So we're going to finish out our Lone Wolf series here and see where we finished up overall in the tournament. And for game 5, we're going to finish on a strong note and we're going to play against a good buddy and Garrett Mercier, or Mercier, however French you want to get with it. But Garrett is one of my club mates this weekend, so unfortunate that we have to play each other in the last round. But Garrett's from Colorado; he's part of the Mountain Region, and Garrett and I met last year at Lone Wolf. I think it was Game 3, possibly, maybe Game 4, one of those. But last year we had a really close game, nail biter, but because of the scenario, it just got out of control and it turned into a 20-0, and it just neither of us felt like that was a 20-0 game at all. So this year we're expecting I'm expecting Garrett to come back with a vengeance. It's going to be another great game. So let's go ahead, hop into his list, and then get into the game. So Garrett this year is taking some Abyssal Dwarves. So he has 3 regiments of Immortal Guard, all with Throwing Mastiffs and Infernal Wardens for the extra crushing strength. One of these Immortal Guard does have Blade of Slashing. I didn't have it in the list, but realize I'm 5 points short on the list here. He then has the Horde of Decimators with Blessing of the Gods, as you do. Troop of Gargoyles. 2 Obsidian Golem Hordes, both with the Charnox upgrade. A Mutated Mastiff Hunting Pack, that's just naked. The triple Catch-A-Sand Rockets, which are awesome, but unfortunately didn't do a whole lot in our scenario, which we'll get to. He has double Hexcaster, one of them being Inspiring, both with Hex and Weakness. And then he has the Supreme Ironcaster on Wing Half-Breed, with the Diadem of Dragonkine, bumping him up to 18 Fireball, 8 Surge, 4 Heal. He has 14 drops and 23 unit strength. So a very, very solid list that is going to be kind of tough to beat and has some good shooting with it too. So, but we got lucky, in my opinion, on the scenario. So we're playing Blitzing Blizzard. So it's an invade scenario. So no progressive scoring. So it's 100% just unit strength at the end of the game, normal invade style. But with some bonus objectives and some line of sight stuff. So, line of sight wise, each player has the choice of throwing either 2, 3, or 4d6 at the beginning of the game turn. And both players roll their selected number and we add it to the total. So, to keep it easy, this is to determine how far a unit can see for the purposes of declaring charges, shooting, all that stuff. So, to keep it easy, I always rolled 2d6 because I didn't want Garrett to have a long range shooting phase. And Garrett always rolled 4d6. So, throughout the game, on average, we're sitting roughly about 20 inches of line of sight. Some turns it was a little bit higher, some turns it was a little bit over, but nothing crazy either way. So, so his war machines get reduced quite in their effectiveness quite drastically, as well as we'll see his hex casters. As far as range for hex, sometimes they're going to be out of range. So, but victory conditions 1 point per unit strength, and then objective bonuses, you get +3 points for having more kill points than your opponent, and +2 for having more inspiring units alive at the end of the game. So pretty straightforward. Garrett only has 3 with the character. The lone wolf provides self-inspiring, so he does count. So Garrett only has 3 units with inspiring, whereas I have 5 with my character. So I'm ahead on the +2 point going into the game here. I also have more unit strength than Garrett and more drops, so we're gonna force Garrett, or Garrett's forced to address us. He's not able to go down one side and me down the other for invade. He's gonna have to try and stop us from getting across the line and fight us. So yeah, so it's gonna be a good game here. So here is the man himself. Um, yeah, Garrett's just an awesome dude. I love hanging out with him. So I was really happy to hear that he was going to make it to the event. All right, here we go for deployment. We have a hill, bottom left and center right, forest in the exact middle and bottom right, a flat way over there, 2 impassable pieces, an obstacle, and an obstacle. So, yeah, Garrett's on the top here. He's got his wolf out here, which is this cool red bull. He has both of his obsidian golems. In between them is the mastiff hunting pack and his caster on winged beast. He then follows that up with the triple mortal guard and then the decimators on the flank. He has both of his hex casters sitting behind over here in some places. Obviously, he has triple rockets over here, and his gargoyles are back there. So pretty straightforward. On my end, I anchor down my flank with a bone giant, going across the defense 6, stuff that we can get Slayer from. Why not? I have my Rev Champ out there with mummies. So, again, gonna do kind of a similar play as we did last time, where in my eyes, the weak flank is actually the decimators. We got to rush them as quickly as possible. And then want to kind of turn his flank. If he just keeps going by, though, we're just going to keep going past and push as much unit strength through. So, yeah, mummies. Got scabs in the back here. These are my J Boots guardians. Shobix in the middle with the wolf. Then I have Troop of Mummies with Sebek and Soul Snare to support. And then I unloaded my unit strength on the right hand side. So, Horde of Warriors, these 2 are the Spear Regiments, Enslaved Guardians with Brutal here, Monolith, and obviously the birds are still back here. So that's what? 3, 6, 9, 12, 14 of my unit strength is deployed, maybe, a foot to a foot and a half from the board edge over here. So that is my goal. I want to avoid his, high defense, pretty heavy hitting stuff with my weak, crappy units that provide a good amount of unit strength. So, yeah, so roll off, and I was actually a little surprised with this one. I think Garrett won the roll off, but he chose to give me first turn, which I will happily take. But I was definitely just looking at it and thinking, usually with Invade, you want to have that first movement, take up more board space, prevent your opponent from, walking freely, up the board. So a little surprised by that, but at the same time, he wasn't able to shoot anything with the range and distance we had for line of sight. So I guess he was wanting me to come a little bit closer in for the turn. So anyway, Movement wise, pretty straightforward. We run the individuals up. The biggest thing I'm trying to do here is my individual is touching the hill so I can see through it. I want to shut down this horde, shooting as quickly as possible. Um, so that is why I'm there. And then I did surge Shobik forward a little bit to, again, just take up more space, prevent him from really moving forward. As you can see, he didn't really move too far off of his line. He was what in that like discolored area there, and then move forward. So he maybe moved forward 3 or 4 inches with most of his stuff. But he just moved forward in range with both of these to throw dogs here. He shot with cover and individual with the decimators here. I think he got like 4 wounds on my wolf this turn, but no waivers. So, and that was everything else. His wolf is going way out to the far left over here right now. And yeah, so that's his line. My turn. I go ahead and take my wolf into the horde because we need to shut it down. We're going to move forward with the rest of the stuff, and hopefully the wolf can deal with that for a turn or two while everything else gets up here. Shobik walked forward just a little bit, and my Rev champion says he's just going to be a little annoying and not allow for line of sight charge, but he can surge charge through the forest if he really wants to into the individual. Um, yeah, and we're just doing kind of the same thing we did last game with the strategy of if he comes into the forest, we can charge him. So trying to just play chicken, and I don't want him to come into the forest because I don't actually want to charge him, but I'm threatening it. So yeah, and combat, I mean, we do a little bit of damage there. And I popped Cloak of Death this turn for my feet. It hit 3 units. I figure the wolf's gonna be dead here shortly, so I might as well get as many wounds out as I can. I did end up surging the horde forward a little bit, so it was just touching the hill, but it was not going to be on the hill. And that was my turn. So this is how Garrett moved for bottom of 2. This is after shooting and everything. So Garrett ended up, I think, unleashing some dogs here. He shot some Charnoxes and fireballs. I think he even shot into the individual here. And then surged in because his Supreme Ironcaster on Beast has the ability to cast Fireball. And then after the Fireball's been cast, he can immediately cast Surge or Heal. So he surged the Horde. So he also put, a dragon, maybe not a great dragon, but it's still a dragon in the forest, turned in such a way that it can see down the flank. So he can, fly over and hit some of this stuff over here and try to disrupt the unit strength that I have over here from getting across. But yeah, that is Garrett's turn here. He fails to break the individual. Which isn't too surprising. Hindered golems only average about 4 wounds in combat against me. So, and his shooting wasn't that great in cover and individual stuff. So, yeah. So we are, but his shooting over here, like I think he went 4 hits, needing 5s with these Charnoxes, and then 4 wounds. It was like, what the fuck, Garrett? So yeah, but what he failed to do was waiver the the wolf, which was huge. On my turn here, we go ahead and commit. So it looks a little funny, but you'll see here, Shobik's obviously in range and can see and charge whatever he wants. These guardians, they can actually see just past Shobik to see this front corner of this unit. Let's see if I have a better, yeah. So boop, just like that. But because of our positioning, Shobik ends up on the other side here, as you see. So unlike the EoD matchup, I'm okay with creating a hole in the center of the line. So that was the unit I was able to double charge effectively. So I went ahead and did that. My individual ran away because he wants to inspire and just be a nuisance later on. Fighting into that was going to do nothing, and he probably doesn't even do a wound. So and then I surged the skeleton spearman unit forward, so that way, when my hound eventually dies next turn, they'll be there to take a charge and slow them down. So, and then the guardians came into these guys because they were on the hill, so I doubled up there, and yeah. So the other big thing over here, I could have charged with my bone giant into this unit or even the hounds here, the mastiff hunting pack. But I decided that I was going to the um, heal the bone giant this turn, which I didn't do great for heals. I only got like 3 or 4 back, or not 3 or 4. I only got like 1 or 2 back. So he still has like 2 or 3 wounds on him, which is unfortunate. Um, but my thought is again hindered the golems into me, and I'm in such a way where he can't get a surge into the flank here, and he can't get anywhere else with them. So hindered golems, you're looking at 6 hits. You're looking at 4 to 5 wounds on average against defense 5. Now he does have, let's see here. There it is. He does have his wolf that's been running around over here. So that thing's going to add in another, you know, 3 or 4 wounds, plus a dread, potentially a cloak of death as well. So, if you get 5 from here, 5 from there, and I already have a wound on me or 2 wounds on me, then it's not as great. I was hoping I'd have no wounds on me here, but anyway. And then not really expecting to kill the dogs, but we can block them up because this horde is effectively blocked here now. So yeah, so combat, we killed the birds, the gargoyles ran forward with the enslaved guardians and stayed put here. We killed the immortal guard in the middle. Shobik sidestepped like 2 inches, which puts him exactly right in front of this unit. So it has no other option but to charge Shobik this next turn. And then I was in kind of a unique situation where staying put with these enslaved guardians, they were over further, would have meant he could double charge the front and get a flank with the golems. So I chose to sidestep with the goal or with my guardians, giving a flank to his regiment here, because he can't take both the units in the flank. So my thought was, and right here with the distance between, he's on a really fat base. He can only back up 2 inches right now with this regiment. He can't even back up far enough so that the golems can get in the flank. So I went ahead and did that, and I really didn't have any other like reform options. I could have backed up, but like I don't think I had enough room to back up in such a way that he couldn't get a flank on me. So I it's kind of a weird situation, weird reform here, but yeah, I ended up doing it and allowing for the flank from this regiment here. So yeah, and then we're just shutting down the horde here still. And we only did a couple wounds here. I don't even think we wavered the dogs, but that's fine. They're not going anywhere. They're not doing much of anything. So this is what it looks like going into Garrett's turn 3, and this is what he ends up doing. So yeah, with my turn 3, effectively shutting down decimators, effectively breaking up the lines, and then getting my still having my hard hitting units in the positions I want them in. I'm actually feeling really good here. I think I have the game in my control. And my unit strength on the far right is protected. It's insulated. It is not getting focused at all at this point. So I feel like the game plan is going well. It's going in my favor, and I think I've successfully really bogged down his units over here in this forest and on the left. And so I'm actually expecting him to bounce over here with everything, and these guardians countercharging. Maybe get a drain life into there to help support. I might be able to pick up another regiment. Yeah, and then I have scavengers here to chaff up. Yeah, I just feel like we're in a really good position for this turn here. And then yeah, Garrett's turn 3 happens. He shoots with Charnox's with the um, what's called the fireball. He picks up a scavenger unit that was just I didn't really talk about it, but it was just a cluster of a bunch of units in the middle here to block off all these flanks and everything that were exposed to the dragon. So it was just I had like what, two scavengers, an individual, and a soul snare here, none of which could have gotten charged except for the scavengers, I believe. But it blocks off the flank of the mummies, the flank of the regiment or the horde over here. So it was just a cluster. But anyway, he shoots off the scavs, and he picks up the enslaved guardians with his with his unit here. I think he does have a Bane chant, he said. No Bane chant, right? No, there's no Bane chant in the army. So yeah, it's 3s to hit, and then 4s with vicious with 24 attacks. I don't know. That seems pretty good against my fully healed. I think he did put a weakness into him, did like 1 wound beforehand. So assuming he did 1 wound with that, 24 attacks, hitting on 3s, he should have 16 hits. Wounding on 4s with vicious, let's give him 9 wounds. It's a 7 twice on averages, and he got it. So I guess that's not as bad as I thought. But yeah, so we got that one. Then he gets the Bone Giant, which we already talked about. It was a 7 twice as well. And it's like, God damn, these are like losing both of them. That really hurts. I wanted one of those guys alive. Like this Bone Giant was dead eventually, but getting no value out of the Bone Giant really sucks at this point. I mean, like I said, I purposely did not charge last turn because I had a very good chance of surviving his charge if I chose not to charge. So yeah, unfortunate to say the least. So, and then he does kill my wolf, which was expected at that point. No big deal with that. So yeah, we're in a little bit of a predicament here. This is what we're looking at going into my turn 4. Now, we lost our heavy hitters over on the left, the Bone Giant, the Enslaved Guardians. Like I was really, wanting to pick up another unit, maybe even 2 of the big ones with unit strength over here, but I fail to see how that's really going to happen now. But we still got Shobik, and if you'll notice, Shobik's in line reform wise, like he did damage here. So Shobik can just turn and walk this way and get surged into this flank. And that's a unit strength 3 unit that I definitely want to be killed. This unit here it's already exposed for a flank if I wanted it. I think so. With this one, I'm actually going to go after the horde instead, and I have mummies in place. I want to, protect my unit strength, and he did finally get a shot off with a rocket last turn into these guys. And these guys are not I think they're inspired by Shobik, but Shobik's going to head this way now. So I wanted to support the unit strength I had. And so this is what I did. And so we go back in here. We're going to drain life these guys just to make sure they're dead because we're not looking to block him up anymore. We're looking to make sure we don't get flanked next turn. We chaff with the scavengers. Shobik goes an inch away, as we said, and then we went ahead and double charged up here and double charged there. So this is what we're looking at. A lot of these wounds will get there. There's a lot of like one-off wounds. Uh, Garrett was putting so many wounds on me just from random different things throughout the game, like little shots here and there and whatnot. And um, his weakness, he was casting weakness every turn, trying to prevent me from getting, you know, really, really strong, over the top odds basically. But yeah, so I ran out of wound counters actually at one point in this game. So um, anyway, combat or shooting, we do get the surge. I actually drain life into his character, and I think I put 4 wounds on him this turn, which is nice if I do get in combat with him. It has Radiance of Life, though, too. That thing is a really good piece, the uh, Overmaster on winged half breed. But yeah, so we keep our mummies full over there. We kill the horde. We don't kill either regiment. So, yeah, like I said, we desperately needed to kill this unit. Um, but, I mean, realistically, maybe we should have been drain lifing into this unit. But I'm looking at it this way. Killing this unit, turning, keeping both these guys in the front. Again, it's the same odds as what we just had with the Bone Giant. A hindered front, um, and the bull coming in the side, or the wolf. Like, we're looking at him doing about 10 wounds to me. If he brings the dragon in, that's probably another couple wounds. So, if he can do 12 wounds, then 6 twice, like that's still a 50-50. But yeah, anyway, I kind of foresaw the odds of me killing here. It's not great odds because Shobik only does about 10 wounds on average with the flank, so I needed the 7 twice. Yeah, so I put my individual in the way so that he's disordered, he can't run through it, and he's just clipping the forest here. So if he charges the individual, it's hindered with his 12 attacks. Like, that is not great odds at all. Like, he has 6 hits and then he wounds on 3s with vicious, so you're looking at like 4 wounds. I'm a dash 13, like no big deal. Yeah, and then I'm set up to flank here. And if I can just hold it up, Shobik will come in, Shobik will hold the line, the Enslaved Guardians will come to support. I still have a lot of play in this game, especially if this mummy unit lives. So we're going into Garrett's bottom 4, and he does decide to bring in the whole house here. So, like we said, about 12 wounds is average. He'll need a 6 twice, or maybe it's 11 plus the dread. Yeah. And he does go after the individual, which I don't blame him because Shobik's at full health right now. And he can shut down a healing and surge. But, I mean, there's nothing for me to heal when he one-shots everything, I feel like. And, well, let's see what happens again. So his shooting doesn't do enough. He's pumping some wounds in over here with his shooting. He's weaknessing Shobik. I think this turn he finally hexed the monolith too because he could actually have the range for it. But he killed that motherfucking individual. He killed Sebek Ray with his lonely 12 attacks, hitting on 4s, wounding on 3s with vicious. Oh my god. Garrett and I are good friends, but I just kept saying it throughout the game. Like, fuck you, Garrett. This is some fuck you bullshit right here. he kills the individual, overruns. He gets the war machine, and after his regen and everything, he's sitting at 6 wounds here, and he gets to turn around and look Shobik in the eyes and say, "You're probably not going to kill me if you charge me." I'm like, God damn, this is some horse shit right here. Um, Luckily, he doesn't kill the mummies. Puts him up to 10 wounds, so a little bit shy there. So if he didn't kill Sebek Ray and the mummies held, that would have actually been really nice. So I think this was the turn that Garrett ended up using his tournament reroll. Um, I actually ended up using it on that first regiment that I killed to open up the hole in Garrett's lines. Used my tournament reroll there. So Garrett uses his tournament reroll here. I think he with Dread he's sitting at 11. So I think he rolled a 4 and a 2, and he re-rolled the 2, needing a 3 or higher, and he did not get it. So not everything was going Garrett's way, but man, it felt like every 6 twice, 7 twice, 9 twice, no problem. Garrett's got it. Easy game. That's just what it felt like. So, and then Garrett did like 1 wound to Mummy Regiment with this other one after he rolled out of his goddamn mind with this one. It's like I'll trade you here. So my turn. Odds of killing this unit in the front aren't great enough. So I said this Lord, the half breed Overmaster, is already wounded. I think he's down to 2 wounds at this point because he had 2 turns of Radiance of Life. And he's a 16/18, so he's effectively a 16 nerve right now with the mummies countercharging as well. The mummy should do an average 4 wounds, and then Shobik should get another 5 wounds in there. So we should be looking at 9 wounds. I guess it's roughly the same odds as if I'm just going in here. So it's like a 6 or 7 twice to kill this guy. So not great odds, but it also what's it called? Yeah, it's also protecting the flank here. I don't know what I was really thinking. I was just like, that thing's annoying. It's a fucking pain in the ass. I'm just gonna go try to kill it. I probably should have just single charged Shobik into this unit and then charged the mummies into the character just to ground it more or less. But anyway, I finally got into a war machine up here, took the flank over there. So we do kill the unit from the flank and reform like so. Kill the war machine. We failed to kill the general. In fact, we failed to even waver the general, which is really unfortunate. Or no, we did waver. He has fury. That's what it was. I think I was 1 shy of killing him, but looking at it, it's not great odds either way. So. But I overran over here and I went way too far like an idiot. I probably should have just stayed put, but I think I was a little flustered. I was also a little out of it, knowing that this game was a lot closer than I anticipated. Going in after turn 3, a lot of things have swung this game, and it's just been the manner in which they swung. Garrett's just, doing his best to trigger me by rolling out of his mind, in the right spots. So combat or movement and everything, it looks like this. So one thing I was kind of okay with is Garrett's coming back to his side of the board with some unit strength. And granted, he's, trying to take out my unit strength in doing this, but yeah, I'm okay with that trade off in the end. So this is what it looks like. He flanks the mummies who are on like 8 wounds because they didn't really regen that much, or I think they regened 1 and life leached 1. So yeah, not great. He gets the flank on Shobik. He countercharges the front with his fury. But again, flank on Shobik with these guys. He's looking at 36 attacks, hitting on fives. We're looking at 12 hits, and then he's fours with vicious. So we're looking at 6 wounds, 2 We're looking at 7 wounds from the flank, and then 8 attacks on fours with crush 3 and vicious in the front. Like we're looking at 4 hits. We're looking at we'll give him 4 wounds there, 3 or 4 wounds. So and Shobik's full health. So on average, he should do like 9 wounds to me, and he doesn't have brutal or anything. The dread's all the way over here. Yeah, we should be fine for a turn. Nope, fuck that. Garrett says, "Get these bitches out of here," and he rolls out of his mind. The goddamn caster comes back in, hits 8 times, does 7 wounds to Shobik by himself, and I'm just like, fuck you, Garrett. Holy shit, man. This is, like I said, this is a lot closer game than what I wanted. I was really hoping that I would just be, having a comfortable amount of unit strength on his side of the board, which I have a lot of unit strength there. And but yeah, this was bottom of 5 that Garrett pulls this off. Luckily, he doesn't kill the Guardians or the what's called the troop with this. So countercharge, and then yeah, we're just sitting to inspire and look pretty everywhere else. So on my 6, so we do pick up the regiment with the Guardians. This is the brutal Guardian unit, so that's about right for averages. I think I rolled really bad to hit and wound, but I did actually get a decent nerve. So anyway, but we're pretty wounded on everything besides maybe this horde and this regiment back here. So this is turn 6, and Garrett's, kind of counting it up, looking at the unit strength. I have 3, 6, 9, 12, uh, 13, 14, 15 unit strength here with everything. And at most, Garrett can get these guys in because the other ones he probably could have moved Insurgement, but it would have been 3 unit strength, and he has to focus on surging, and hopefully he gets enough. Versus let's just go kill these guys. So he actually moved out of the forest so that they could use their Charnox, and then he is going to get a surge into them after he does the fireball. So um, yeah, shooting wise, Garrett unloads everything. His goal is he takes out one of the spear regiments back here, or he wants to take that out, which he has. He has them up to a decent amount of wounds. I think they're at 7 or so right now. So he has a rock or 2 rockets that can go in there. He does the Charnox here and then surges, so that's going to be enough because these guys were already on like 6 or 7 wounds. And he has the dread here, and then he unloads fireball, Charnox, any extra artillery, all the weakness and whatnot. He unloads it into this horde, which he puts him up to 11. It looks like. I thought it might be more than that, but he fails to kill it. He does kill that horde, and he fails to kill this one because he was spreading his wounds out quite a bit um, in the shooting phase. I think it would have been best for him to just focus to kill this regiment because it was so heavily wounded. Um, but I think he got it down to where he needed like a 6 twice, and then he started shooting at this horde. And I think he got this horde down to like a 9 twice, which he got at the first roll. He rolls like boxcars, and then he rolls again, and I'm sweating because the first dice I see is a 6, but then luckily the other one's a 1. So he almost pulled that off, and it was ridiculous. So this is where the game ended on 6. So I got very lucky that he didn't pick up more unit strength here at the end. So I have 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12 unit strength on my side of the board, or his side of the board, and he has 5 unit strength. So we are looking at 7 points in my favor. But then he has both of the bonus objectives for an additional 5. So we're looking at instead of 7 points in my favor, it's only 2 points in my favor, which ends up being an 11-9 victory for me. So we started the tournament with an 11-9, really close game, really hard battle, and we're going to end with that as well. At least this game, like I said, last year, it was a really close game, and I ended up ahead or, pulled ahead and ended up wiping out almost all of his units, but it just turned out to be an, a much bigger victory than it seemed like it should have. I think we were playing control last year, but anyway, this one, an 11-9 victory, I think was much more reasonable. Garrett Garrett was into this game because he felt like it was the comeback, like he was the comeback kid. He was just rolling hot. He was picking up units with the nerve rolls he needed. He was just fist pumping when he got the nerves. Like he deserved every bit of it. And my God, I think it was just definitely one of those games where I felt helpless because I had no control over some of those things. Um, I just I had a lot of fun, but I felt just completely helpless, and that's why I just resorted to the quote of the game, which is "fuck you, Garrett." So, uh, yeah, but great game, Garrett. I really had a lot of fun, but still, fuck you, Garrett. So hopefully we'll see each other again here soon, because I have a feeling that you're gonna definitely pull out one of these ones, and I think honestly, the way your dice were rolling, you deserve to win this one, and it was really close. So yeah, that's how the game ended and the tournament ended. Um, so with scores, I actually ended up being, I think it was like tied for ninth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. Tyler Schultz and I have the same number. Don't let him lie to you. He did not finish ahead of me. It was just reverse alphabetical order. And clearly, battle points, I have more than him. Even though I finished tied for ninth, I actually walked away with the third best general at Lone Wolf, and it was just really weird how it all kind of ended up falling together here. So Jesse Garrett, who tied with Dustin Howard, took overall. Dustin Howard took battle with 79 up there. So awesome. That left Jordan Lawrence for second overall. Right there. Makes sense. Ryan Smith ended up taking best painted. So he is out of the equation for anything else. Dan Kamek took best sportsman. So he got out of the equation. That leaves Tom Robinson, who submarined and got all the way up to 76 points. He took second battle. Um, and then Jose Vega, even though he finished right up here, he's actually tied with Jason Burr. So Jason Burr finished above him with the first tiebreaker of battle for third overall. But then we have a better battle record than Jose, so that put us at third general. Even though I'm looking at this glaring Jeff Radigan number of a 73 battle and wondering kind of how he didn't get it. So I don't know if there was a potential miscalculation, or the only other thing I could think of is if um, Lone Wolf uses win loss draw record as the kind of the first priority, because we did end up 4 wins and a draw, and Jeff Radigan went 4 wins and a loss. Um, so I don't know. I think that I probably didn't actually earn the third general, but I was given the trophy. Well, actually, they gave it to Jason Burr by accident because Mark read the wrong line, and then Jason had to give it to me. But yeah, overall, with the our day two, I would say to sum it up, we got a draw and we got an 11-9 win. Um, it could have been worse, but I felt like I was in winning positions both games. That I could have had another 10 more battle points here, and be at the 123 range, up to like fourth overall, and that would put us roughly second in battle or so. Um, but yeah, it just didn't fall that way. The dice were what they were. Um, and I think the last two games especially kind of go to show, one, when is the right time to make uh, a tactical risk to try and benefit yourself for the event, and for pulling out a win at the event, not necessarily just the individual game. And then two, trying to stem the bleeding when your opponent just is rolling the dice that they need to roll. Um, so it was really a rough day too, I would say. I was a little flustered by it, but in the end, I'm happy with the performance with the dust. Um, and I always enjoy playing the army. So I hope that you guys enjoyed watching the battle reports as well. At this point, I don't have another event for a little while, but I appreciate everybody for watching, and if you're still watching, I would love to hear in the comments if there's any armies or play styles that you guys would like to see me play. Throw it in the comments section. And then also, if you're watching, you're not subscribed, it doesn't cost you anything. I would appreciate that subscription as well. Um, yeah, but I appreciate everybody that's watched, and we will catch you at the next event.